Good afternoon, class. My name is Nicole Soto, and these are my colleagues Abdullah Rashid, Jose Balejo, and King Wen. So our question is, to what extent can investment and innovation in Lake Nona, Florida transform the issue of urban sprawl over the next 25 years? And so what is urban sprawl? Urban sprawl is the migration of a population from populated cities and towns to low residential developments over more and more rural land. Through investment and innovation in Lake Nona, the public were able to access a medical city, which includes Nemours, as you see here, also a Veterans Affairs Hospital, and the medical city for UCF. As well, Lake Nona also has residential neighborhoods, which are comfortable and modern so a lot of the residents appreciate that and they feel pleased. Also, retail stores, shops, and restaurants, they all are being developed, and all of these are creating job opportunities for people, so it's bringing in more of the public. So more investments made by Tavistock creates more developments, and more developments creates more job opportunities, so more of the public moves into Lake Nona, and Lake Nona expands. Although with all the benefits, though, the environment is affected negatively. So any of the biological features and ecosystems present on this land and the wildlife present on this land, their habitats are getting destroyed, and so they have to either migrate or get separated from the rest of their population because of our buildings and roads being built in Lake Nona. Also, the pollution in water and air also need to be considered in these factors. And we have to find an effective way to where the public can be pleased and they can have jobs in Lake Nona and benefit from them, but as well as we need to worry about the environment and having it be safe.
All right. Urban development in Lake Nona is heavily centered around the medical city, and these include institutions such as the Veterans Affairs Hospital, the Nemours Children's Hospital, and the UCF College of Medicine. And this assimilates employers to come to this area, and this also causes the growth of residential neighborhoods in this area, and that includes, for example, Laurier Park, they got Lake Nona Golf and Country, and they also have Village Walk. And one negative product of urban development is that people undermine social cultural well-being, and they don't really care about that aspect of life for people. So Lake Nona counters this by having special social innovations and investments, such as having pedestrian-friendly innovations and having community engagement activities such as community yoga, community gardens inside of a neighborhood, and porches which provoke neighbors to speak to each other, and also the overall design of a neighborhood. So like in this picture, it shows the neighborhood like community center, and this area also like encourages people to talk to each other, and it has leisure activities for people, so that improves the social cultural well-being of the residents.
Lake Nona has been expanding at fast rates. This expansion has been affecting the economy in a great way. In fact, due to this expansion, it is estimated that by 2029, 25,000 jobs, being both high-paying and permanent, will be created. Considering the 5,000 jobs already created, Lake Nona is being recognized as one of the most promising cities in the Central Florida area. With continuous investment from Tavistock and other companies, the future can only be bright for Lake Nona, as investment can lead to expansion. Right here you can see two images of future expansion in Lake Nona. The first image represents the first phase, which is expected by 2025, and the second image is expected by 2029. With expansion, you can also expect population growth. Population growth, of course, impacts the economy in a great way because it develops it. Now, attractions like the medical city and high-tech houses are enticing many people to the area. Of course, as population increases, you can expect more jobs to be created and more revenue. So with further investment, Lake Nona would only be able to develop, therefore attracting many more to the city.
And now, to continue from what Jose said, the growing economy of Lake Nona will actually depend on the investments that companies like the Tavistock Group has. And one of the products that any company can invest in is technology. and specifically medical technology, because medical technology improves over time, and they benefit Lake Nona as a whole. So one of these technologies that are developing within Medical City includes a telemedicine called the Morris Care Connect, which allows parents to talk with doctors over a computer screen or a phone after office hours. And this is really useful because it doesn't allow parents, if their child is sick overnight, they don't have to find a doctor's office that's far away, or they have to go to the ER for no apparent reason. And another innovation that is being developed in Medical City is also the Orlando Veterans Affairs Medical Center's SimLearn. Now, SimLearn is a technology that allows new employees and new employees that just moved here from somewhere else, and they have a chance to learn how to take care of the veterans and diagnose patients. And thanks to Medical City, we now have smart houses, which allows medical personnel from different facilities like the VA, the Moores, and UCF to collaborate with Lake Nona Institute and have all these medical technologies in the house. Now, they include commercial products for the public, and prototypes along with conceptual ones that haven't been realized yet. And they include these types just to show that consumers will expect this in future homes. And now, based off of what we said, we decided to come up with a solution and to readjust the question of to what extent can innovation and investment in Lake Nona, Florida, transform the issue of urban sprawl in the next 25 years. We came up with, through careful consideration, companies like the Tavistock Group will invest in products that will not only benefit the people that are in or migrating to Lake Nona, but also produce as little harm as to the environment as well. Thank you, and does anyone have any questions?
All right, so we have questions. We'll start over here on this time. This
is nice.
So in the future, what change would you guys make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve your team presentation?
We would focus more on not procrastinating and leaving everything to the last minute, and we would decide earlier what lenses and specific things we would talk about, so we can do as much research as we need.
I hope you remember that the rest of the year. Kang, what's an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to not use, and then why didn't you use it?
That doesn't include mine's, right? Or just
no, someone else's.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, Nicole's, for example, she had the lens of an ethical. One of her arguments was how, deciding how investments might give how do you say it? Make it or break it. So if an investment goes well, then then investment goes well, then there will be more popularity throughout the consumers, and consumers will use it. But if the consumers don't use it, then that investment is considered immoral. So, and we didn't have enough time to put that in, so
that's all.
That's
all
unfortunate.
Right. Cool. Thank you. Jose, what's the strongest counter argument to the solution that your team identified?
One of the strongest counter arguments was as investment is being put to Lake Nona, new infrastructure is coming in, right? So many environmental and community aspects are being ignored. And Nicole, how you doing? Having finished your project, what, if anything, would you consider to be a gap in your team's research?
We were only able to use 2 sources, so if I wanted to expand on my research for ethical or any of their lens as well, they couldn't expand on it because we didn't have enough space to use more resources.
Okay, cool. Thank you. You guys are done.